everyone, today we'll be reviewing one of my biggest sets I've reviewed on the channel, the Eisley Cantina. This set is rated 18 and up, has the set number of 75290 with 3,187 pieces for currently $400 in the United States. In 2022 or 2021, I can't 100% remember, this set got an increase of $50 on Lego.com. This set also comes with a ton of minifigures, including Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, C-3PO, R2, Han, and Chewie, and we will get into the rest in this review. We can also take a quick look at the back of the box, and we can just see how it opens up, and you can play with it. This is a beautiful set, and let's get into this review. There are 21 minifigures in this entire Lego set, and I have them all lined up right here. This is everything you could have asked for, in my opinion, except maybe one more Jawa. But first, we can start with the two. These guys are exactly the same, except that they have different pauldrons and different face prints. Next, we can go to the Jawa, which is the same Jawa that we've been getting for years. Then, we have three Biff musicians, and they've only come out the 2014 Cantina, and I actually have that set, but I don't have it today to compare, however. But here are the three. They're the exact same as they were in 2013. Next, we have one of the old reused minifigures as well, which is the Cantina bartender. And then we have Greedo, which would have been nice to have arm printing, maybe side leg printing, but that's asking too much. Next, we're going to go into the exclusive minifigures of this. The exclusive minifigures in these sets, including the Imperial Spy, a Trandoshan, spacing the creature for most of these, but some good creatures, and including the two guys, who try to pick a fight with Luke and end up getting almost killed. We have a bat character, a guy with horns, and then we have our original 6 that we get introduced to the movie, R2-D2 and C-3PO, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Ben Kenobi, and Chewbacca. That's all the minifigures for this set, and we can take one final look at all of them in a row, and they do look very good all together, and yeah. This is pretty much everything you could have asked for in a Mos Eisley Cantina. Maybe a few extra troopers here and there, or just Ewoks, but just random characters here and there to more populate it, but I think this is perfect. In this set, there's a dewback. I have one extra. There's also two different speeders, and both these speeders we'll take a look at in a second, but first we'll start with the dewback. This dewback has some very good printing all around it. It's a nice spot for the blaster, same as binoculars, and it's a nice improvement from the last one. The last one was pretty much the same, but just different printing. But again, there's not much difference here. Not much else you could ask for. Still very good dewback. Let's get on to the other round and then put the Stormtrooper on it. And the Stormtrooper gets to hold this very long rod that was in the movies as well. And we can show that right now. The completed look with the Stormtrooper on top of it. And it looks pretty good. And we can put that aside and go to the two speeders. Next up, we can take a look at the first speeder. And this one has a very good design. It's very simple. Has some simple parts usage. This is definitely a little flimsy. It is just connected to there. Would have liked some different prints for the thrust on the back, but that's okay. And it has a beautiful windshield print, piece. And then there's a little spot to where you can put one person, and you can also take this off and put another one inside. So we can take this guy and either put him in the back and close it up, or we can take him and sit him all the way up, nice and easy, and place him right here. I think you need to stand him for this. Yeah, you do. So you just stand him right there, and you could also pilot it from there if you'd want him to. Next up in the set, we have a little pod, and you might be wondering why there's no Luke's land speeder in the set. That is because in the same year, they released that in an Obi-Wan set, which I also have to take a look at later in this review. In this, we can take Greedo here and bring his hands up and have him sit right in it, and you can close it right back up, which is huge and very cool. There's just a nice printed dish in there, and then just the same build on all 4 sides. The bottom is kind of cool as well, and yeah, you can just close that right up and have all 3 of your little builds. And now we can go on to the actual build of the set, and this set is absolutely massive. It takes up half of my table space, just this section alone. Well, this section alone takes up a fourth, but altogether, this takes up a massive amount of space on my table, and it connects all together pretty well. We're going to take a look at the Cantina second, and we're going to take a look at the Jawa shop. The Jawa shop can be connected by these pins right here, and all you have to do is push them apart, and they disconnect like that. Then, they each have their own little buildings. So there's 2 buildings here. They can also disconnect like this. And we can take a look at the Jawa shop and just this other little shop. So again, this has 2 different buildings. We'll take a look at the main one first before we get to the Jawa shop. And this one's very cool. It has a nice little interior with a shovel and binoculars, just some different tools like a saw, a pot, and just a bag on there. And then we can take a look at the side of the building where we can see 2 clips to connect to everything else. We have a little gear up front, a box, and a control panel, which sucks that it's a sticker. We can go to the roof of it, and we have some nice greebling details. And both of these roofs can actually be detached to get a better look at the interior, which we can do now. First, I just had a kyber crystal fall out of one of the bags. There is another bag in there. Tip it on its side, and we can see that in there is some boxes. There's a box here that's supposed to hold that crowbar, and then there's the kyber crystal in there. It's a nice little space. It's kind of hard to get access into, but it does work with the collapsing, not with the roof being detached. So we can take this and put it to the side, and we can go to the main Jawa shop. Now, this Jawa shop has a nice little tarp on it to just have the shade in it. I don't know. This is probably in the movie somewhere in the background. So it's all decently accurate enough to Mos Eisley. There's just some tools sitting on the bench here, probably for the Jawas to sell. And then here we have a huge door, and you can open up the door and it stops in place, which I think is a really cool feature. And you can see into the Jawa shop. Now there's another way to open the Jawa shop. All you have to do is pull it apart like this. And then you can turn around to get access to the interior. And then you can also lift up this bubble, close it, which really does nothing, but you can also open that and get a better access to the interior, which includes a blaster on the wall, a broom, and then on the other side, we have a little seat for the Jawa, including a table, a cup, and maybe a toy land speeder or something, or just binoculars. And then again, there's another clip on the wall. There's nothing too crazy about this, but we can take our Jawa minifigure and we can place him on the seat right here. He's going to be shooting out. And we can just place him right on it, if I can actually get there. And there we go. Oh, so, all right, there we go. I have it. So now the Jawa is in there, and we can close it all back up, and we can see that the Jawa is pointing his gun out, and now he can talk to customers that are coming up. And then again, we can take both of these 2 modulars and put them together by the clips here to create this, if I can push them in, this little corner here. And I guess we can put them on the other side, but I don't know how well it would look. So we can't do it there. So you're only supposed to do it on the one side, which I think is a little annoying, but just removes a little bit of modular ability. But again, this does look very cool. And this is just the first little section of the Mos Eisley. We can take a look at the main Mos Eisley Cantina itself, and we will start with the exterior. So we can start with the main door, and this can obviously open up. And it kind of holds, but it kind of falls. So this isn't the best door in the world, but it does work. I don't know why it's falling on me. I don't think it should. Some of the pieces could be loose, could not be. There's a few sticker details. There's a lot of these rings, which were common in the movie, and just some nice greebling details around the entire set. Then we can move it around, and then we can see our first water evaporator, which can actually be removed, but this whole section can be removed, so we'll wait a second on that. We can also spin around, and we can see this whole large section here that can be removed. Here, we'll do this first. So we'll take a look at the water evaporator separate in a second, but first we can take a look at this main area, and there's just a bunch of boxes, crates, and whatnot. These can open up. There's a crowbar inside, nothing too crazy, and yeah, just and boxes everywhere. We can take a look at the water evaporator, and this actually gathers water for the residents of Mos Eisley. At least that's what I've been told to believe, or not been told to believe, that's what I believe from what I gathered from the movies and shows. And yeah, this is a very good build. It's very tall. This is the tallest part of the set. So if you have a small shelf to fit this on, I would remove these and just not have them in the display. Even though they look really good, I would just not have them in the display. But they are pretty good. And again, if you remember, you can take this whole entire section off, and you can see these 2 levers. They can move back and forth. I will get into what those are actually for in a second. But then we can keep moving around, and then we can go to another door. This one can actually be opened. It slides all the way down on this one, and it's fairly good. This is the back. Nice printed control panel on the side. First, I'm actually going to put that back, but there's again a nice printed control panel on the side, and we can go back, and we can see some little points where the set may or may not be able to turn, and you'll see what it is. And then we have another water evaporator. This one is actually a lot smaller, and it is definitely a little bit smaller in height, so we can take it off and show you the difference. It's about a few studs smaller. It's not too bad. And then we can keep moving around, and now we have a little section for the, I believe, banthas. It's not a bantha, to sit. So we can take the one from earlier and place him right in there. And now he has a little space to where he can drink some water. And there's some good details all in here. There's a little bone, so some food, some water, just a nice area for them to sit. Now we can get into the interior. And sorry, it's called the dewback. Now there's a few ways to access this interior. First, we can take this large roof panel and take it right off. And we can have a nice view of the interior, which we'll get to more in a second. We can also take off every single one of these panels, and we can have a nice view of the interior that way. And we can also lift up these domes to get a nice interior look. Or we can close everything up, and we can have one really good look of the full interior by opening the whole thing up. If you remember, there was hinges earlier on it, so we can move everything out of the way. Those are my stands, Stormtrooper, and all we have to do is just push on it. And that was a little aggressive, but I didn't know how tight it would be in there. And we're gonna have to take this off to actually be able to open this properly. And again, this whole thing can spin around, so I'm gonna put it here so we can actually put it on the table properly. This whole section on the left can be pushed out all the way to there, and it can even be pushed out further, except we need to push this area in, which this area, the bright one, can be pushed in until that dome is centered. And then here is the centered look of the entire building. And yeah, you can have the entire full open interior, and we can take a look at each of these rooms. So first, there's a little corner booth. There's a side booth here. There's one in there. And then this is where the Biffy musicians go. Then there's a little back room, which we'll take a look at it in a second. And here we have the main drinks and bar area. There's a few drawers in there. A lot of good detailing in there. There's also another seat there, another seat here, and another large booth there. And then just a normal side booth, and then we have the main entrance to it with the droid detector and 3 swivel chairs. So the next thing we can do in this set is take off every single roof and start placing minifigures inside of this build. So again, we can just take every single one off. We can lift that up, get a nice view of those, and we can take a quick look at all the interiors before we do in fact place them on. And again, there's just some nice seating in all of them. You'll notice on these ones, there's a little difference. We'll get to that in a second. And we'll just take a quick look at all of them. Most of them are the same. That one's the largest booth. There's 3 chairs in here, including a swivel chair. And yeah, we can take in-depth review on all. Start with this little section here. There are 3 seats. And then if we move around, we see the droid detector right in there. And that is also connected to the door. When you lift up the door, it will hopefully stay. It stays a little bit. There is definitely an awkward gap in the ground there, which is a little frustrating to see. But in this room, we can place our C-3PO and R2-D2 minifigures because they are droids and they're not allowed in the cantina. Of course, we can take a look at the bar, and we can place the bartender. We can just place him in on one of the studs. He'll be talking to someone eventually. And now we can place the Biffy musicians in. In the set, there are 3, but in reality, there are about 4 or 5 Biff musicians in the movie. We have an extended little chairs in here, because those are what the normal chairs look like. These ones are 1 stud out more, and that is because there's a play feature to where you can put Han Solo and Greedo in there, and they can flick off of the chairs. Most of the main features in the set done. We just have 1 left. We can start placing all the other minifigures, but first we get to start with Han Solo and Greedo. And again, you might be wondering why this is such a large area for the seating. Well, you turn everything around and hopefully not knock things off the table. You can see this whole area. And again, we can take this off like before, and there's 2 little things here. If you push them in, it'll knock the minifigures off. So you just push them forward and it'll knock them off. You could have just seen Han Solo fly forward. So again, we can place him in his seat and reenact Greedo absolutely getting, destroyed. So we can take here, find it on the other side, launch Greedo. Now Greedo is dead. Han Solo wins. He gets to go see Jawa and tell him he killed Greedo, where Jawa will be slightly upset. So yeah, that is that play feature. And now we can just place the rest of the minifigures. Here's a complete look of every single minifigure placed in the set. As you can tell, there is not that many minifigures in the set, really. This area is mostly filled up right here with the minifigures. You can place most of them wherever you'd like to, but realistically, there's not that many minifigures to fill up this whole space, which is good and bad. You have a lot of seats that are left over, but this set would have definitely been better with 2 more minifigures probably, just to fill up one of the extra seats because it looks a little bit empty. But then again, we can close everything up and then have it look like a normal cantina. Then we can first take a look at this back section that I definitely missed. There is a broom, binoculars, and just some other tools in there. And again, the other door, which closes on itself. And yeah, this is the Mos Eisley Cantina. And then while we have everything in, we can place the Stormtrooper in. It's not going to be able to sit very well. And then we can close everything right back up. So we can just start by putting all the panels off if we want to. Which, that's the best thing about the set, is that it's super modular. You don't have to have a single panel on. You can just have the set look like this. And you can see into every single room. And yeah, this has been the Mos Eisley Cantina. There might be one more thing you're wondering about the Mos Eisley Cantina. There were other sets in 2020 that came out around the same time as this, including Luke's Land Speeder and Obi-Wan Kenobi's hut. And we can actually place those around this cantina. You can realistically place anything wherever you'd like to. I placed the extra bantha here, not bantha. I'll get back to them again, because dewback here. And you can basically place wherever you have room for the set. I just placed the land speeder here, but there's only really 2 things that you can actually place on the set. There is the little Jawa corner, which you can place the Jawa in the Jawa hut or in the Jawa shop. And then we have Obi-Wan Kenobi's hut as well. There's a perfect little corner to place Obi-Wan's hut right here. His door goes right into it, and there's a nice little pathway right into it. There's a nice little pathway around just that side, and I think it closes off that area very well. And then you have this little extra sand piece. All you have to do is put it back here and push it all the way until it hits a clip. So then on the other side of this, it will hold it pretty well, and there's a good look at that. It closes that area off a little bit more and just has a nice little background for it. And yeah, this has been my review of the Mos Eisley Cantina. This video was probably very long, but thank you so much for sticking out if you did. And again, thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you all again soon, and goodbye.